global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to Global Happenings. Today we have a trending news for you, and the headline reads: Update on Emeka Ihiedioha and Uzodinma's Supreme Court saga. And it reads: Ihiedioha's lawyers introduce new facts that no one has heard of on the case. See details. So before we go into the details proper and further analysis, we do like you to subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button below. Beside it, you will see a bell notification icon. Please go ahead, click on it to get notified as soon as we update our channel on YouTube. Okay, let's go straight into the news of the day. Mr. Agabi, who happened to be Ihiedioha's lawyer, Emeka Ihiedioha's lawyer, has introduced an issue that is not in the public domain, that the appellants, that's Uzodinma and APC, appealed the decision of Court of Appeal dismissing their petition but did not argue that ground before the Supreme Court. I'll take that again. They said the appellant, that's Uzodinma and APC, appealed the decision of the Court of Appeal dismissing their petition but did not argue that ground before the Supreme Court, and therefore are deemed to have abandoned it. The consequences, he has argued, is that the Court of Appeal decision dismissing the petition still subsists, which renders the Supreme Court appeal incompetent. He is now arguing the point that the number of votes cast in the polling units introduced by Uzodinma exceeds the number of verified voters polling units. This is going to be interesting, but I do not see the justices of Supreme Court departing from a decision in Biafra court case that they cannot review or revisit their judgment. But the case is ongoing. Let's see what Nigerians have said, because Nigerians have started reacting to this, because this is actually an interesting part, a technical hitch that no one actually, so I didn't even see it. This is a technical hitch that most Nigerians didn't see. Let's go online and hear feelers of what Nigerians are saying, particularly to this particular technical hitch that no one saw. And actually the Supreme Court have to go on recess because of some of these points that are now coming in more technical than what they expected. So they probably may reconvene by 3 p.m. But for now, Nigerians have started reacting over what is going on right now. The one here says, not when judgment was passed in error. Don't you hear the submission of Agabi? The appeal was struck out at the appeal court tribunal. The Supreme Court erred in hearing the substantive case without first voiding or annulling the appeal court decision. This is a critical technical hitch on the judgment. This one here says, hope all the way. Imo State is in safe hands. Did you want Ihiedioha to come in and start chasing Okorocha and his family again and start complaining about past administration? We don't want a cry governor. Hope should carry on and move Imo Light forward. This is another respondent talking and probably in support of Hope Uzodinma. Here, this one says, Agabi has made a very critical legal point. Supreme Court can go ahead and dismiss the review at the peril of Nigerian democracy and judiciary arbitration. This one here says the important thing is that everybody has known the truth, so the Supreme Court can as well refuse to reverse this decision. After all, here is Nigeria, where anything can happen, but will not tell good of our judiciary. This one here says we are watching with keen interest. Justice must be seen to be done. This one here says I doubt the Supreme Court will reverse his decision. We are watching. This one here says that is not about reversing. This is not about reversing. They should redo the mathematics and arrive at the needed required total number of votes. Let me just add one or two words with what this young man has said. If they do proper mathematics and add the right figures the way it ought to be, I'm afraid Hope Uzodinma will lose. How did you add from 4 position you became number 1? If they do the proper mathematics the way it ought to be, verified votes, accredited votes, and the rest, Uzodinma will go back to 1st position. And that is not exactly what Uzodinma wants. But if you go by either which way they go by, I see, except of course they refuse to, reverse their judgment, their first judgment. But apart from reversing their judgment, if there's any other thing they will do, all favor goes to Hope Uzodinma, Emeka Ihiedioha. All favor goes to Emeka Ihiedioha. If they reverse their judgment the first time, that Supreme Court reverses their first judgment, then Emeka Ihiedioha has a lot to gain here. But let's still go ahead and hear what Nigerians are saying, because Nigerians have started reacting, a whole lot of reactions here. So he said the law will surely do a new thing today. We will find out in a matter of time. This one here said there's just nothing interesting here. They are only wasting their precious time. We don't know. Time will tell. This one here says whether stupid or Supreme Court review is decision or not, Agabi has made a good point, which is very true. Honestly, you ought to have known that before moving on. These are technical hitches that I didn't even see it in the first instance. This one here says Nigerian justice delivery system full of inconsistencies and controversies, where white can be black if proved, where truth can be dismissed based on so-called technicalities, many verdicts differing from public opinion. Question is, if the right people have been in government, how come Nigeria very underdeveloped, backward, and regress in 21 years of democracy since 1999? In fact, Nigerians are tired of this justice system imposed on us by the British. One wonders if it's the same way the British implement it too. Nigerians have reacted so much over this matter, but let's just take one or two commentary over this and see what Nigerians have been saying about this. One person here says, I see hope not going far over this matter. I see Emeka Ihiedioha getting the day. Well, that's how much we can take on this commentary. Well, let's begin to buffer. Let's begin to talk around this issue that Agabi, Kano's, Emeka Ihiedioha's legal counsel has said. I see if they don't reverse the verdict, that's if Supreme Court decides to look into this properly and reverse their first verdict. Don't forget that international bodies are watching. The whole world is listening. They have done a lot of delaying tactics. It was postponed twice. The first one was the fact that Uzodinma's lawyer Dodo actually wrote there's this legal request luminaries usually do. They have 24 hours to do it. They have between that time and the day of hearing to write a request to their opponents and their accusers and the rest. But unfortunately, or should I say fortunately, tactically, Uzodinma's lawyer did it on the day of hearing, of which Agabi had to respond, and unfortunately postponed the hearing till yesterday. As of yesterday too, there was another one sent also by the lawyer too of Uzodinma, technically actually doing what we call delaying tactics, of which also again Agabi, that is Emeka Ihiedioha's lawyer, had to respond by also postponing the hearing till today. Technically speaking, based on what lawyers are saying in the House, said if he doesn't respond to some of those requests and proceedings sent to him, it is assumed in law that whatever it is that's in the content of the letter is seen as agreed. So he had to go back with his team of lawyers and review what was written to him, of which he has responded. And according to them, you don't respond by orally, you don't respond by mouth. It was written to you, you have to respond by writing as well, which he has done, and he has done away with them. Now the hearings, the verdicts have begun. A lot of Nigerians are thinking that between now and the recess, they have gone for recess, that this is the time where the powers that be will begin to move. This is the time where the Supreme Court will begin to wonder, do we need federal might here? Are we safe using federal might here? Don't forget that the United States American club had already warned that if anyone that the international bodies are watching, if they do as much as tamper and not do the right thing, put judgment in the right perspective, they may likely get a ban, sanctions over their verdict if it doesn't go in consonance with the rule of law of Nigeria. They may likely go get a visa ban and other forms of sanction if they don't go through the law of the nation, which is Nigeria. So it's not just about Nigerians, it's not just about Supreme Court alone, it's not even just about federal might, as the case may be. It's about the world watching, the world listening to the verdict. Imolites are watching, and other states are watching. Now, there are a lot of things involved here. A lot of persons feel that if for any reason the court reverses itself, that the Supreme Court should get ready for other cases will begin to come up, and they will all begin to demand for a revisit of their hearing. Don't also forget that the last one held by Leon's Bayelsa State, the lawyers, the two senior advocates were sanctioned with 30 million naira for daring to even come and show their faces over something that the court has already finalized. They trashed their appeal, they trashed it and said it doesn't hold waters, and they fined the lawyers that appeared, as the lawyers who are appealing that the court should reverse their verdict. They fined them 30 million naira for even attempting to do such, which is not obtainable according to them. And now everyone is watching. Will they reverse Emeka Ihiedioha's case? If they will, then there's a precedent being set here. And if they don't, will Emeka Ihiedioha get sanctioned? A lot of persons from other quarters believe that what Emeka Ihiedioha did, that if eventually doesn't get his mandate back, he may likely be facing a jail term or some sort of sanction. Time will tell. As the clock is ticking, we will get to find out what the final verdict will be. But for now, it looks to me that Kanu Agabi has scored a technical point that no one has actually seen, and that's a technical hitch, a technical one that even the Supreme Court and the SC did not see it coming. And I guess a lot of heads will begin to, I feel the panel this time around will sit down and begin to deliberate. The world is watching. What do you think? Let's go to our comment section. Let's interact before the time comes for the session.